This is Eric 9 from Always Open, and you're listening to Artist King Podcast.
I was like, let me try DC characters. So I did Robin, and then what I did was I gave him some design cues from my character that I had created that I was telling you about, that I was trying to do my own project, with the 2 parts and all that stuff, kicks and all that. So I did that, posted that online, man, went to bed. Next morning, I wake up, it's got like 160 shares.
This is DTM of DeltaTangoMike.com, and this is the Artist King Podcast, episode number 85, featuring the artist interview with Anthony Piper. Please take the time to download the Artist King Podcast in your favorite platform and listen anytime. We would like to hear your opinions and suggestions, so please direct your comments to dtm@artistking.org. The Artist King Podcast is available on iTunes, Spreaker.com, Stitcher Radio, and ArtistKingArchive.com. The Artist King Podcast is made possible by the support of our sponsors. You can find them on the partners page at artistking.org, and they include the law offices of Deborah Gonzalez Esquire, VelocityScreenPrint.net, RevolveSkate.com, Old Hub at Giant, Southside Sickest, Mix Many Beats, The Biz Garage, and AzaleaCreativeGroup.com. Anthony Piper is an illustrator and designer, lover of video games, comics, cartoons, manga, and hip-hop. His art career is focused on providing illustration and design work for company advertising and businesses. He recently expanded his experience in the animation industry, providing work on the Major Lazer and also the AIK animation series, where he was lead character designer. He's currently working on multiple projects, but the one fans of Black Antt can't wait to see more of is his Trill League series. I feel bad for you if you don't know about Spreezy and the rest of the cast. Follow Ant online at anthonypiper.com, twitter.com/black_Ant, ANTT, instagram.com/Trill League, and at antboy.deviantart.com. Now on to our Artist King artist interview with Anthony Piper, aka Black Antt.
Name's Anthony Piper from Chicago, Illinois. Just recently moved to California in Hollywood.
Hollywood?
Yes, sir.
And what's that move about?
Basically, I was working for Fox. I was working on a series called Major Lazer.
Okay.
For ADHD. They asked me to move out there because they wanted to promote me to lead character designer for the AIK series. So, made that move in the beginning of the year.
And that's what your current work is right now?
No.
Okay.
Studio dropped. A couple of months right after I moved out there, man. Fox didn't renew the budget. So, basically just been freelancing right now. Yeah.
You grew up in Chicago? That's where you're from?
Southside, yes, sir.
Southside.
Yep.
There's only north, south, and west.
Yep.
Because on the east is the water.
Yeah, pretty
Ain't
much.
nobody from the
that
east?
like little 2-mile stretch. It's a little job.
I'm from the sand. The sand and the
Yeah,
rocks.
that's pretty much it.
You can't hang with the rocks.
Exactly.
So growing up, the first moment, can you recall the first moment that you came across art? What did that look like? What was it about?
Man, I always been into cartoons, Ninja Turtles all day. So, that pretty much sparked my interest into drawing, and I was kind of basically doing all the kids from the 80s know, you know what I'm saying? You drew the turtles with the figure 8 mouth and all that stuff, so that's what I was pretty much doing. Darkwing Duck, Batman, all that stuff.
Yes.
So, yeah, so pretty much cartoon sparked it, man.
Darkwing Duck was like one of my favorite characters because he was like closest to Batman.
Yeah.
Batman's my main character, like that's the one. And
that whole little, what was it, Disney hour that they had, man, that was just like the ish right there, you know what I'm saying? You had Darkwing Duck, you had Tailspin, Chippendales, all that stuff.
Gizmo Duck, the robot one, right? Wasn't he like a robot?
Oh, Gizmo, yeah.
Yeah, Gizmo Duck, I liked him too, yeah. So here you are. How old are you? Do you recall doing a lot of art and drawing in middle school before, or what age?
Yeah, man, I was doing a lot of like character drawing and stuff like that. Power Rangers, all that stuff, man. Then, like, once I got into high school, man, I started to move away from the character art and started getting into airbrushing because that was one of the courses that they offered. So then I got into airbrushing.
Oh, nice.
So I was doing like a lot of murals, paintings and stuff like that, man.
Did your teachers take a interest in you and guide you to
Actually,
things, to classes and things?
Yeah, she did, man. Most students really kind of stayed in like the art program for like 1 or 2 years. I stayed the entire time. You know, and she entered me in a few contests. There was the NAACP academic competition, which I won the painting category 3 years in a row. There was a congressional art competition, won that, where basically I had one of my paintings hanging in the halls of Congress.
Nice.
So I was like heavy into the airbrush thing for a nice little minute, man. Yeah.
Were you making money with your art at any time during high school?
I was, but it was mostly doing like T-shirts, and like all the girls always wanted their name airbrushed on the board and stuff like that. So you charged on a nice little 5 spot for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much how I was making my loot, man. Just doing airbrush shirts, uniforms for the teams, stuff like that.
This is in high school.
Yeah, that was high school.
During class.
Some of it was during class, but then I bought my own equipment, so I was doing it at home too.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of times it was like maybe like during lunch break, where I go after school, you know, and she gave me the key to the art room, so you know I could just close up, leave out the high school like 7, 8 o'clock. Everybody going, I'm just locking up. So yeah,
it's like your job now, almost.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So did you have ideas or plans of following up your art career, or did you planning on taking a job like everybody else?
No, man. Well, I was working for a shop. Well, I went to college I wanted to get into video game design.
Okay.
So I took a course. It was called Media Arts, which basically it encompassed 2D animation, 3D animation, audio, all sorts of stuff. Basically, you know, all over the place. And I kind of started to lose a little bit of interest in it because it was too software based. You know, I was kind of losing the feel of, you know, doing a traditional thing. So I actually started to pursue music. I was getting into music a lot more. So I kind of gave up art for a few years, man, completely, and was starting to produce beats and all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was that like a way to earn money or something to play around because you were in college?
I wanted to. Actually, I got kicked out of school because of it, man, because I was actually sitting there trying to produce beats all day, neglecting my artwork, man. So, like, every night, just sitting there, like, making beats, you know what I'm saying? Trying to get artists to, you know, record to it and stuff like that, just neglecting all my artwork. So I'll come to find out at the end of the semester, they was like, oh, yeah, you failed all your courses, so you out of here. So I was like, oh, man.
You flunked out.
Yeah, man.
I got this hot beat, though.
Yeah, man, exactly.
Did you, and so what was the plan? What was on your mind at that time? That's how you going to make a living?
Actually, I really wasn't too concerned with that, man. Basically, I was like deep into music because I was really inspired by Timbaland and Pharrell. Like, I really like their music, man. So I really wanted to kind of create, you know, music, and I was like just so focused on that. So I wasn't really too bothered by the whole getting kicked out of school thing. So I was like, I'm not really worried about the art thing too much. Ended up moving to Portland because one of my homeboys, he produced beats, and we were going to, you know, partner together because our beats, you know, like he played the piano, but I was real good with drums. So we kind of felt like, you know, we could probably get something cracking. So I had moved out there for a short while. That kind of went south. So I had to move back to Chicago, man. And that's when you kind of say my art journey kind of took off because I had to sell all my equipment to get back. So I was like, oh, shit. I'm like, what I'm going to do now? So I was like, got to go back to the art. So, yeah.
Portland, Oregon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
What year was that? Do you remember?
I can't remember, man. It was probably about like 8 or 9 years ago.
Oh, okay. All right, recent.
Yeah.
That's recent.
Yeah.
I lived in Salem, Oregon in the 80s.
Oh, word.
The late 80s.
That's where you from?
That's where I graduated out of high school.
Okay.
I was born and raised in East LA, and my mother took us, when the last 2 years of high school, she moved us out.
Okay.
Because it was dangerous.
Yeah,
and then I only lived there 2 years and I was out.
Okay.
I left. But in any case, it has its own quality and air and atmosphere and everything out there, the Northwest. Yeah. Oregon. That's funny. So you're back in Chicago.
Yeah, moved back to Chicago, man. Pretty much was kind of just like out of everything. No car, no computer, everything was pretty much gone, man. So I had always just been a creative, you know, person. So I was like, all right, man, I got to figure out something because I've always just dabbled in some sort of art form. You know, so basically when I got back, I was like, all right, man, I'm like, we gotta pick a path. We gotta start worrying about making this money, man. So I'm like, put the music to the side. Let's focus on this art. So I moved back in my parents' crib. I was like, Dad, you know, I'm not really trying to do this regular 9 to 5 thing. I'm gonna do it just to make ends meet, but you know, like I'm really trying to pursue this art thing. So I was like, you know, can you help me out? So basically, he bought me a art table. We bought an art table off Craigslist for like $25. Bought me a lamp and some pencils, man. And that's where it started.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, man. So I basically was in my parents' basement, just like I had this story idea that I had been working on since like 4th grade, man. These characters that had been following me. So I finally decided, I was like, yo, let's put them to paper, see what we could do with them and all that. So that's why I started working on.
So you have a regular job. What did you? What was your job?
I was working on cars.
Working on cars.
Yeah, changing oil, brakes, all that
mechanic stuff.
Yeah.
And then evenings and free time, you would sit down and focus on your art. And you had a world in your head that you wanted to get out. That was the first thing.
Basically.
Mm-hmm. And so you didn't focus on trying to like create artwork for people to buy. You just focused on your own stuff, or was it a combination?
Well, initially it was I wanted to produce my own comic. When I started to post my work online, this was during the MySpace days. You know, people started to catch wind of my work, so then they actually started asking me to do freelance work, and that's when I got caught into the album art game.
Okay.
It was a guy named Ken Low-Key. He was a lyricist out in Chicago. He asked me to do his album cover. Now, mind you, I had no experience doing album cover, designing anything of that sort, so I was like, yeah, I'll do it for you for free, man. I'm like, you know, somebody taking interest in my art, so, you know, I was just ecstatic just based off that. So did his album cover, man. He posted it. A lot of artists that he networked with started hitting me up. So that like kicked off my freelance career. I started to be known as the mixtape cover guy. I probably got at least like a little bit under 50 mixtape album covers under my belt, man.
Nice.
Yeah. So I was doing those like crazy.
In the 90s, I was doing a lot of club flyers.
A word.
And the only benefit out of that, because it was very little money, the only benefit of that is that I get to go to the club and I had to pay to walk in. I had to stand in line, you know, just little things. And get to say what's up.
I didn't even get that benefit, man. This cat's like, yo, you still got to pay for that download, man. I'm like,
when you were doing those covers, was it illustration? Or?
It was all illustration work,
Okay.
man. I probably maybe got like 2 where I did like graphic design
Like
work.
photo-based,
Yeah, but I was never good at graphic design, man. Like my graphic design is like super basic, man.
Do you still have them?
The album covers?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I still got them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
That's a project right there, a publishing project on itself.
yeah.
Yeah, all right. So you submit Photoshop some, but Adobe Illustrator, is that one of your softwares?
just all Photoshop, man. I'm actually don't know how to use Illustrator at all.
Okay.
So,
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like a lot of, you know, either digital like paintings and stuff like that, or like, you know, comic book illustration where I would take them and turn them into a comic book character, or like design logos and stuff like that, man. So it was all drawing stuff. It wasn't like graphic design layout.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're working, got freelancing, and you're focused on your story in your world.
Yep. All right. So basically, I would say this is the turning point of my career, because I had always wanted to get into comics. I kind of sidelined and went into album cover design and all that stuff. So I had a homeboy who knew Ryan Benjamin, who, you know, some DC artist. You know, he got trained under Jim Lee and all that, and he was real cool with him, and he was getting ready to move out to Cali. So he was like, yo, I got an opportunity for you, you know what I'm saying? You could probably get to know this guy, you know, he might be able to get you into the industry. Why don't you come out here with me? So I'm like, man, I always wanted to move to Cali, you know what I'm saying? Perfect opportunity. So I'm like, cool. So I sold most of my stuff, man. Moved out there, packed my truck, went out there, man. We moved out to San Diego, and basically nothing that he said went down. Like, it was just straight hell, man.
Yeah.
We got an apartment that the rent was like 2 stacks a month.
Dang.
You know.
That's
And
Cali prices.
I'm trying to survive off freelance, man. So basically, I was working like, this was honestly my turning point in my career, because I was literally having to work every day. Like, I was taking on so many projects, man. But it turned me into like a workhorse, because, like, you know, I'm making like $50